My name is Onome Omokoro. I am Group Project Manager for Ananse Africa and Country Manager for Ananse Center for Design Lagos. At Ananse Africa, our main purpose is to empower African creatives, especially in the fashion industry, within the continent. We are currently located in about 6 to 7 countries in Africa, from South Africa to Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Senegal. And our main goal, like I mentioned earlier, is to ensure and empower African creatives to help them from ideation stage to marketing stage. So we try to create access, and we're an agency essentially to help and support fashion creatives from the ideation and creation stage, and making sure that they're able to meet up with excellent standards and global worldwide standards, and then also get to sell to global markets across the world. Major challenges that we have in the fashion industry, and which is why we sort of are existing now. Job at Ananse is to solve that problem by creating access to machines that you typically won't get or that are too expensive, by training you to be able to know the right things to do, to be able to use those machines, and even just know how to process and execute your ideas. And also, eventually, when you are market ready, we then make sure that we created a platform that allows you to sell globally to the world markets. At Ananse Center for Design Lagos, we have 3 major floors that are dedicated to different parts of the creative industry. So on the ground floor, which is our welcome space, is also what I like to call our maker's corner. This is where we have most of our studios. So we have our leather bag studio, our leather clothing studio, our brand and marketing studio. So basically this is where we have the embroidery, the laser branding surface. So from plastic to wood to acrylic. We have our clothing studios as well. And then on the first floor, we have the creative space. So that's where we have the photography studio, we have content rooms. We have 3 content rooms available for rent that's sort of are decorated to accommodate your taste, but also can be upgraded to suit your taste as you'd like. We have photography studio I mentioned earlier, and we have the VIP showroom. We also have the podcast studio. So if you have podcasts that you need to record, we have everything, and it comes with fully equipped. So you just come with your crew and your host essentially, and it's very affordable. It's what we've also done is ensure that we're giving very subsidized pricing because of our partners and our supporters. So we're not your typical market value. On the second floor, we have an auditorium space that sits up to 200 people that is available for rent as well, again at a very subsidized rate. So the choice to start with Nigeria as our pilot expression of our empowerment in Ananse is basically, you can't ignore Nigeria. Nigeria is the creative engine of Africa. We had to start where basically the engine is. We didn't want to start where we have to then hope that people will come. Everywhere in Africa is creative, but when it comes to the fashion industry, Nigerian fashion has sort of taken the lead, and that's why we decided to start here. It doesn't mean that we don't have plans to go to other countries. We already have plans in Kenya, we have plans for South Africa, and even just other countries across the continent. But we of course had to start in Nigeria and Lagos essentially, because that's the creative hub and the creative engine of Africa. We already have plans with the Ministry of Arts and Creative Economy to replicate what we have here in other states across Nigeria. So definitely Lagos was a definite go-to for setting up anything that has to do with fashion. And we have the buzz already. People in the fashion industry in Lagos have already come and shown as much interest as they would. And again, because we're more of a social enterprise. Yes, we're very interested in the big brands coming to work with us, but we're also interested in the average Nigerian on the streets who just sets up their business, or who just actually is looking for what to do in the creative space and is trying to figure out where they need to fit in. And we are welcoming people from across all walks of life. Where else than a country that has 200 million people and 20 million in a state that are just creative and looking for business to do. I would say Ananse is an agency. Our main focus is basically to enable the African creative to start and finish and sell quality products to the world. And we want them to be able to do that by themselves. We don't want you to have to depend on other people. So our job is to empower, our job is to train, our job is to create access to machines. Our purpose is to solve the problem that fashion creatives in Africa experience, which is number one, quality, scalability, and access to markets. And we have, with the hub and with Ananse.com, solved all of those problems. And all we're asking is that you come and use our space. One of the major challenges that people have, creatives have, and fashion creatives especially have, and entrepreneurs, is the capital to buy some of the machines that are required to finish their product. And rather than start to look for financing or beg for family members to borrow you money here and there, or where to buy a machine or rent a shop, what you can do is come to an Ananse hub. You can start and finish whatever collection that you need to make. We have machines for rent for clothing, for leather bags, for leather shoes. We have spaces for creatives. So you want to create a campaign, you want to shoot a video, you want to create content, and you don't want to go and pay an arm and a leg for that. You can come also to our content creation studio and rent your space at very affordable pricing. Also, we have a photography studio available for your brand if you want to shoot a campaign to sell on e-commerce, sell on Instagram, on social media generally. If you just want to run a portrait and you're a camera person who doesn't have a studio yet, but you have your camera, you can come and rent our space at very affordable pricing as well per hour, where you can bring your clients and shoot. We have the access to film editing as well. If you need to edit your films, edit your pictures, and you don't want to be burdened with that whole process, and you don't have the time for editing, or you're not great with it, you can also send that in as well. Like I said, Ananse Center for Design is a one-stop shop for for any creative in Nigeria, and it is a space of possibilities. We're in partnership with Clo, where we have access to give students free access to this Clo software, where you can design your patterns for your shoes, your clothes, your bags. We also do monogramming trainings, and we have laser branding services as well, and monogramming services as well. So, like I mentioned, and I've mentioned several times, Ananse solves the problem of the creative. All you need to do essentially is have an idea. Say this thing proudly. If you do not have any sewing skill whatsoever, come to Ananse Center for Design. In 1 week, you'll be a perfect tailor. And that's one of the things that we hold on to. And so what we do is, at the end of the day, our goal is to ensure that everybody that comes into Ananse Center for Design leaves with the ability to get secured into a dignified work, into dignified spaces, and can get reputable jobs, and can also maybe even employ other people and pass on jobs to other people. Our goal at the end of the day is to create up to 5,000 direct jobs before the end of next year, and also at least 50,000 jobs indirectly as we do along. Because if one person is trained and empowered to teach and to start their business, they employ more people, and that way we have more young people in Nigeria empowered. We're also very focused on women and children. Even in our auditorium here, when you come for our trainings, we have a creche for mothers with children, so you can bring your kids along when you're coming for trainings as well. With Ananse, how we try to redefine what quality means from an African perspective is that we focus a lot on quality control and quality assessment. One of the main things that we train our fashion designers and our creatives on is excellence in quality assessment and quality control. After we train people in skills, we take even more time to ensure that they finish properly in terms of little things on your fabric that has to do with like threading, how it's ironed, and all of those little things. Because these are the things that make the difference between quality, luxury, fast fashion in the world. So there's a standard for quality assessment and quality control in the world generally, and we try to make sure that everybody that goes through the hub and through the trainings at Ananse Center for Design understands and tries to meet those standards. we should get to the point in Africa, which is what we're hoping we should be able to achieve with Ananse, where we're able to change policies with the government and also change the mindset of entrepreneurs in Africa, that you are not just learning to start your business, but you can actually join a fashion house. There's no reason why you can't join a factory, a fashion factory. We don't have enough production factories in fashion in Nigeria or in Africa, where, you know, people are sending in their tech packs and their patterns and we're just producing en masse. We don't have that. If you take a lot of people who have their stores and their little shops around, some of them should actually just be in a factory producing large pieces and scalable pieces for the market. But we don't have that because of the mindset that we have. So one of the things that we want to do with Ananse is create that mindset shift. First of all, you don't have to immediately start your business once you learn how to sew. That's the first thing. Secondly, you can formalize your skill. And formalizing your skill doesn't mean, again, starting your business. It could mean joining a production house. It could mean joining a fashion house. It could mean joining a fashion factory. And if you do want to start your business, then you need to learn how to be professional in starting your business. One of the courses that we teach has to do with e-commerce and digital marketing. It has to do with how to set up your business structures, how to set up your accounts. More and more people are starting to know that they need to open corporate accounts for their businesses. It wasn't something that was popular a year or two ago, but there's still a lot more that needs to be done, and those are one of the focuses for Ananse Center for Design, where we're telling people how to actually start businesses. And when you start to take people through the process of how to run a business formally, that is sustainable and can live beyond you and live beyond, you know, your family members being your only customers, people then start to realize that maybe they're just not ready to start their business. Maybe they need to join a fashion house. Maybe they need to go and work for someone else first. And then once we can create that mindset shift, then it's easier to have more consolidation, more collaboration, better quality production out of Nigeria and out of Africa, and then more people in jobs. Thank you so much for having me. Please be sure to visit Ananse Center for Design, Lagos, 10 Nike Art Gallery Road, Ikate, Lagos. Hi, my name is Onome Omokoro, Country Manager at Ananse Center for Design, and this is Ananse's Live It Up on HIP TV.